transmission of information, messages, ideas from one person to another person or from one place to another place is called as communication. So, communication may be flowing in two directions, which means the one on one communication may be like a two-way communication or a circular communication between the individuals. And communication also can flow in only one direction, like mass media, how it is reaching the audiences. Because there is no feedback, we are calling it as a unidirectional kind of communication where communication is flowing in only one direction. There are different types of communication based on different ways they have defined, like mediated communication, non-mediated communication, direct communication, indirect communication, participatory communication, non-participatory communication, oral communication, written communication, verbal communication, non-verbal communication. More or less all those communication types will be falling under the communications, which are categorized based on the number of people who are involved in the experience of this communication. Direct communication is like direct communication between the two individuals. It is a face-to-face kind of communication between the individuals. It can be a interpersonal communication or it can be a group communication where the group members are exposing or they are involved in the communication process and a speaker may be addressing this group. If it is indirect communication, when it comes to it is not a direct communication where something is mediating between these two individuals and something is carrying the message from the source to the receiver. It is a clear example for mass communication. And when it comes to mediated communication, more or less mediated communication is nothing but some medium is separating the source and the receiver, and communication is taking place. That is something we can say that it is also a mass communication. And non-mediated communication is nothing but direct communication between the individuals, like direct communication. Okay. Then if it is a verbal communication, we exchange the information through the words using a language and the sounds are carried towards the other individual. And if it is a non-verbal communication, generally we communicate with other individuals using the signs, symbols, codes, signals, etc. All these communications are falling under one or the other. But what you have is the typology of communication, that is something which is categorized based on the number of persons who are experiencing or those who are involved in the process of communication and those who are either sending the messages or receiving the messages. So, based on that, communication is categorized into four types. The first one is intrapersonal communication, second one is interpersonal communication, third is group communication, fourth is mass communication. Okay, these are the four kinds of communication which are categorized based on the number of persons who are experiencing or acting as the sender or the receiver in the communication process. First one is intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication is nothing but the communication which is happening within the self. So, when a person himself is communicating something, we are calling it as a intrapersonal communication. So in a intrapersonal communication, the source and the receiver are same. If it is a interpersonal communication, we are exchanging the information with other individual. But if it is a intrapersonal communication, a single person is communicating within the self. Here, internalization of external stimuli is something we are calling as a intrapersonal communication. So, external stimulus, whatever is something which you receive, you start communicating within the self. So, thinking about your problems, praying to God, meditation, etc., all of them are called as intrapersonal communication. When it comes to the intrapersonal communication, the source and the receiver are same. Generally, we call this intrapersonal communication as the processing of information. If you see the intrapersonal communication, also there are two kinds of intrapersonal communication. One is a subconscious intrapersonal communication. The second one is conscious intrapersonal communication. In a conscious intrapersonal communication, where the individual is having control over the communication, which means when you are meditating, when you are praying to God, etc., you know what you are doing, you know what you are communicating. When it comes to the subconscious intrapersonal communication, where you don't have control over the communication, for example, when you are sleeping, you are maybe getting the dreams. Within the dreams also, you might be communicating within the self. You don't have a control over the communication. That is why we are calling it as a subconscious intrapersonal communication, because you are not conscious. When it comes to the conscious intrapersonal communication, where you have control over the communication and you know what you are communicating within the self. If you see the second type of communication, that is interpersonal communication. So interpersonal communication is nothing but the communication which is taking place between the two individuals. So here there is a if it is a interpersonal communication, it is a face to face communication or direct communication between the two individuals. When communication is taking place in a face to face manner between the two individuals, etc., we are calling it as a interpersonal communication. In a interpersonal communication, generally, the source and the receiver are two different individuals. It is more or less like a conversation or dialogue between the two individuals. So here the sender and the receivers are either sending the information or receiving the information. You can call it as a two-way process of communication, or it is also can be called as a circular process of communication, because the exchange of information is taking place between the two individuals. Both the sender and the receiver are acting as the senders of communication, and also they are acting as the receivers of communication, and the mutual exchange of information is taking place. But if it is a interpersonal communication, the feedback is immediate. So instant feedback is being provided by the receiver to the sender. So in interpersonal communication, the feedback is instant and immediate. So when it comes to focused interpersonal communication, there is a possibility that the two individuals are decided to communicate and they are directly communicating with each other in focused interpersonal communication. But when it comes to the unfocused interpersonal communications, etc., generally you are experiencing the interpersonal communication, but here what is happening, you are not focused on this communication. For example, when you are sitting at a hotel, etc., you might be able to hear the voices of other people, the other conversations which are happening within the hearing distance, but you are not focused on that communication. You just receive the communication, acting as the receiver of that interpersonal communication, but here you are not focusing on the communication. There are three stages within the interpersonal communication. The first one is a fatigue stage, second one is personal stage, and third one we can call it as a intimate stage. So individuals, while building the relationship with other individuals, etc., we may be passing through all these three stages of communication. So in the first stage of communication, that is what we call fatigue stage, it is like a warming of stage of communication. Like the first individual might be saying hi, hello, good morning, etc., and the second individual also may limit the communication to saying hi, hello, etc. They might not be able to discuss more information about their family, their relations, and their problems, etc. So when it comes to the next stage of interpersonal communication, that is we are calling as a personal stage. So in this personal stage of interpersonal communication, the individuals might be establishing a relationship, and here the individuals are discussing about the other information, not only saying hi, hello, etc. They may discuss about the family problems, their health, the professional problems, and other information. So here in the personal stage, the individuals just open up and communicate their problems, their life, their weaknesses and strengths, etc. with the other individuals. Okay, that is the personal stage. It is the next stage of the interpersonal communication after the introduction stage, what we are calling as a fatigue stage. Okay, more personal elements are introduced by the source to the receiver in this personal stage of the communication, interpersonal communication. Then we have an intimate stage where we may express ourselves with the other individuals. So here, when communication is taking place between these two individuals, either they are maybe the family members or they are maybe the close friends, where the individuals open up their hearts and they communicate with each other. So they will not be able to hide any information. So whatever is happening, whatever may be the strengths, weaknesses, their problems, everything, they open up and they share that information with the other individual. So it is meant for the persons who are very close to the source are very close to the receiver. So the advantages of interpersonal communication is, it is because it is a conversation between the two individuals, it is more effective way of communication when you compare with the other kinds of communication where you are maybe sharing the information, because it is a direct communication between the two individuals. The nonverbal signs and cues also used by the source and also the receiver, because of that also it is more effective in conveying the information by the source to the receiver. Then when it comes to group communication, when communication is taking place within a group, we are calling it as a group communication. Here in group communication, generally a single person might be addressing the other group members, and the group members also get a chance to give their feedback to the source or the speaker, whoever is addressing them. There are different kinds of groups. One is casual groups, then second one is temporary groups, third one is permanent groups. So here when it comes to the casual groups, so communication also takes place within the group which we are calling as a casual group. These casual groups are formed on a spontaneous basis. So when something happens to, for example, a train accident takes place, or bus, or maybe any other fire accident takes place, etc. The individuals who are witnessing this incident, etc., may form as a group and they discuss the operations to be done. After the rescue operations are over, then the group disappears. Then when it comes to the temporary groups, so these temporary groups are formed for a time bound period. All those commissions or the committees which are appointed by the governments, etc., are temporary groups. So these temporary groups will have a objective to fulfill. So here, to complete the task, these groups are formed. Here, temporary group is headed by a person, and there are other group members. The communication is taking place between these groups. The temporary group will have objectives and a task to complete, etc. And after completing the task, the group will disappear. So that is a temporary group. It is formed for a time bound period. Then the other one is permanent groups. There are permanent groups means the groups remain always, but the head of the group of the permanent group may change, and the members of the groups are keep changing. And an individual who wants to become the member of the permanent group, etc., they are abide by the rules and regulations which are laid down by the permanent groups. For example, trade unions, academic associations, RTC, or maybe railway associations, etc. All of these are permanent groups. The communication also takes place within this group. The group members also keep on changing. Once they retire from their positions, etc., the group members also might not be again counted as the members of the group. Again, when it comes to the organization, the different organizations also can be a group. We can consider the organizations, the companies, etc., as a group. And in companies and other organizations also, there may be a subgroups, etc. So, for example, if you take media organization as a group where the communication is taking place from top to bottom and bottom to top, etc., again we have different departments within the media organization, and these different departments also serve as different groups. For example, we have a circulation department, we have production department, we have a news department, we have the circulation department, HR department, advertising department, accounts department, etc. So we have all these departments within the organization, and each department is again serving as a subgroup of the major organization. So here, when you consider media organization or as a group, when communication is taking place between the members of this organization, we are calling it as a organizational communication. If it is a interpersonal communication, there is a feedback we get immediately. But if it is a organizational communication or the group communication, etc., the feedback might be received by the source from the members of the group, and all the members may not express their feedback, and on behalf of the group members, etc., there is a one person may also express the feedback. It depends on the members of the group. Mass communication is nothing but when communication is taking place between a large number of audiences, etc., we are calling it as a mass communication. But in mass communication, the sender and the receiver are not having direct relationship. Here, there is a medium, we are calling it as mass medium. There are different channels of mass media or mass mediums which are separating the source and the receiver. When it comes to the mass communication, the source is not an individual person, but source is a media organization which is communicating a lot of information for the receivers. So, depending on the organization's policy, there are various gatekeepers within the media organization. They are filtering the information before it is going to be disseminated for the larger audiences. So here the source and the receiver are not having any direct interaction or direct relationship, but here the mass mediums or the mass media
Yeah.
channels like newspapers, magazines, and also the books, then film industry, the films, then we may call that electronic media channels like the television and radio. These are the mass mediums which we consider, which are reaching the large number of audiences. It is also seen like a mediated communication. So when something is mediating between the source and receiver, we are calling it as a mediated communication. The same way it is a example for mass communication. So here the mass media organization, there are various persons who are working as the gatekeepers and filtering the information. Each media organization will have its own media organization's policy. Based on that media organization's policy, only some kind of news stories we can see in the newspapers, and some news stories are only broadcast through the radio or television networks. So later on, if you see, the reporters also acts as the gatekeepers while contacting the sources, while writing the information, while putting the words and writing the story. Then when it comes to the desk, after the reporters are maybe sending this bureau copy, whatever is the copy which is written by the concerned reporters of a particular organization, that is reaching the general desk. The same way, news agency copies also will be coming to this desk. So here there are sub editors depending on the space available in newspaper and depending on the time available in broadcast media channels, etc. They only allowing some kind of stories to be printed in the newspaper, and some stories are to be carried in the broadcast media channels, etc. When the space is not available, sometimes the stories are maybe just left, their stories are not carried, and sometimes only some space is available in newspapers, etc. A story might be rewritten by the sub editors within the general desk, and the story's arc may be carried in a brief. So here, the if it is a newspaper, we categorize the important news in terms of the headline, and also the page where it is being printed. When it comes to the broadcast media, the first number of stories whatever are there which are being read by the news anchor, etc., those we may think at those are the most important stories of the day. But it is a kind of agenda which is set by the media organization, but we might be having our own agenda. We might not be following the media agenda, but prioritization of the news might be done by the media organization, that is being we are calling as a media agenda, but that may be different from the public agenda, and public may thinks whatever is important for them, they may only consume those kind of information from the media channels. After that, the editors of the concerned newspaper, etc., are acting as the most important gate in the newspaper, and it is also in the broadcast media. The editor is the one who is deciding what stories are to be carried in the newspaper and what stories are not to be carried in the newspaper, and the same way with the broadcast media channels, because he is responsible for what is printed in the newspaper, and also he is the one who is responsible for what is carried in the broadcast media channels, etc. So that is the gatekeeping function of a media organization. Within the media, we have lot of people who are acting as the gatekeepers, who are filtering the information before it is going for disseminated for the larger media audiences are the readers. Okay, that is mass communication. Here mass communication is reaching the large number of audiences. Whoever is reading a newspaper or magazine, we are calling them as a mass media readers. Then when it is coming to the television and radio, those who are exposing themselves to the television or radio, we are calling them as the mass media audiences. Those people who are there within the reach of the media organizations, etc., we are calling them as the mass media audiences. One more important aspect of mass communication is the feedback. Here in mass communication, the feedback is delayed. So in mass communication, the feedback is delayed, and we can only get the feedback from the people who are in the form of the letters to the editor, or while we conduct the research to know the opinion of the people regarding the news stories which are printed. If it is the entertainment media, also we can conduct research, and based on the opinion of the people, etc., we can modify our program patterns or the themes of the program. And sometimes if we are not getting the TRP ratings for a program, just the media channels or maybe the entertainment media, they just discontinue the program. In mass communication, the mass communication is reaching a large number of audiences. The mass media, those who are receiving the mass communication is, we are calling them as a mass media audiences. These mass media audiences are heterogeneous, anonymous to each other, and they are large number of audiences. So they are the one who are exposing themselves to the media content. Here they don't have the source and the receiver do not have any direct relationship, but here the source and the receiver are separated by a medium called mass media channels. Okay, that is mass communication. When it comes to the interactive communication, when communication is taking place with the help of ICT, information and communication technologies, and new media, etc., we are calling it as a interactive communication. It includes sending an SMS, video conferencing, teleconferencing, then we have audio conferencing, etc. All these are part of the interactive communication. Sending an email is also part of the interactive communication. If it is a mass communication, at a time the signals, the stories are being simultaneously aired for the listeners and also for the broadcast media. The newspapers are printed and might be received by the receivers. But when it comes to the difference between the mass media and the interactive communication, in mass communication, the transmission happens at a time, and the media audiences, if they are missing the content, etc., they are missing for the lifetime. But only with the help of this ICT technology, YouTube and other channels of communication, etc., we are able to watch the programs which are earlier transmitted by all those networks of media, etc. And when it comes to interactive communication, there is something called, we call it as a asynchronicity. where the source may disperse the information. The source may send the communication or the messages to large number of audiences at a time, or they may send email or SMS, etc. But here, the individuals, depending on the time available, they can see the SMS, they can receive, they can read the SMS or email, etc. So that is the difference. Here, the messages are stored in a device able to receive the content. If it is a audio conferencing, generally one individual may call a group of members and they can exchange the information in the form of audio messages. And if it is a other video conferencing, etc., the visual content, the moving visuals, and also the audio can be exchanged between the members of the society. When you are using information and communication technologies for the purpose of communicating with other individuals, it may be a group, it may be large number of audiences, but it can also include one-on-one communication. When you are using this ICT and new media technologies, it is called as a interactive communication. That is interactive communication. So these are the 5 typologies of communication where you have in your syllabus.